Almost all of the health benefits that we get from lifting weights come from gaining muscle mass, and then a smaller portion of them come from the bone density. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. So this is the topics that a lot of times people are not aware of. They think that just the lifting weights is about sometimes feeling better or doing other things. And I'm not saying that can't be beneficial, but when we come to the actual health benefits, it's mostly about the accumulation of lean tissue, which that would actually include the bone density too. And it's important for us to know these because when there have been studies that have come out, it throws people off. They'll see. I've seen it happen. Like some of the news headlines, people are like, "Oh, I can't believe that's not possible." When that large scale study came out showing that lifting weights was slightly better for overall heart health and reducing heart disease than cardio was. And again, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't believe that," but it's true. I mean, the data is there. Now, I want to be clear when I make that statement. They noted that people who do both actually get even better results. So just an FYI, that is by no means saying that cardiovascular training, as it's called, doesn't improve, heart health and reduce strokes and heart attacks and these things, because it absolutely does. And it does some of it through separate pathways than the strength training. See where I'm going here? So there's considerable overlap, even though the lifting weights and strength training slightly edged it out in terms of benefit if you only do one, because it's only a partial overlap in the benefits. People who do both did even better. So just be aware, what the evidence really says, just because one is slightly better doesn't mean that both don't have effects. So what the data really says is that, you're even better off if you do both. Okay, that's your winning combination. Combine that with a good healthy diet, okay, and you're setting yourself up for success there. You're really helping, stack the odds in your favor. So be aware of that. And it's been the same thing. I had some in-laws at one time. The conversation came up, and I had mentioned that strength training and lifting weights reduces cancer considerably, and they said, "Oh, I don't believe that." Well, it does. I mean, this has been known scientific data supporting this. It's gone back well over a decade. Thinking 15 to 20 years ago, they started figuring it out that people who lift weights have lower rates of cancer. And that was found to be true even when multivariate analysis was done, because people will say, well, correlation's not causation, right? So maybe they just live overall healthier lifestyles. Well, yeah, but when multivariate analysis has been done, even when that's accounted for, the overall lifestyle, because believe me, not everyone who lifts weights or trains hard has a healthy lifestyle. That's a bit of a misnomer. Again, you get, particularly in certain strength circles, believe me, a lot of the lifestyles are not as healthy as you would think. And a lot of them don't even eat healthy diets. Okay? I know a lot of serious lifters who eat garbage. So don't make that assumption. Serious lifters with drug abuse problems and garbage diets, and not just PEDs. So party drugs, alcohol, smoking, those are all prevalent in those circles. But when the multivariate analysis is accounted for, it reduces cancer rates. Same thing with diabetes, lifting weights. I think of one of the earliest studies I remember over 20 years ago, showing that people who lift weights at least twice a week or have a 70% lower chance of diabetes, developing type 2 diabetes. All right, these are big numbers, so the question becomes, well, what's the benefits? Where's this coming from? It's from gaining muscle. Because the metabolic health, the nutrient partitioning. In other words, muscle tissue itself is protective against cancer and diabetes because it improves insulin sensitivity. Okay, the more muscle you have, the more sensitive receptors you have for uptake of insulin and glucose. And when that happens, guess what? It does stuff like, reducing triglycerides, reducing circulating glucose, reducing circulating insulin. Well, we all know those are cardiovascular risk, but the big risk of those is development of type 2 diabetes. right? Well, the development of obesity, the development of cancers. High circulating insulin levels, above the normal range or the healthy range, absolutely increase the risk of cancer. Now, that doesn't mean to follow a low carbohydrate diet, because strength training itself, lifting weights, has been shown to lower circulating insulin and fasting glucose more than cutting carbs out does. So people on high carb diets who lift weights are still probably better off in regards to those things than people who don't lift weights and do it like a ketogenic diet. And that's been found in the data also. So the muscle tissue itself reduces those things. So think about that. For a lot of people who don't work out, they're trying to lower these things with a low carb diet. Lifting weights actually does those things better than a low carb diet does, because your muscle tissue uses all that glucose. It has a high insulin sensitivity, so your body just needs a much smaller insulin response to deal with glucose and to transport it correctly. Okay, and also your muscle cells are using most of it, and people forget that too when they think in terms of glucose and carbohydrate. Your muscle tissue is really the biggest sink for that and user of it. So obviously, if you have more muscle tissue, see where I'm going? You need more of it. And so then your overall metabolic health improves. Well, that definitely cuts diabetes, but it also cuts cancer. Because just circulating insulin and glucose are lower, you have better control of these things, your body manages them better. So in other words, it tends to feed the muscle tissue and starve the tumors. Because your body will try to fight those things, but if they outgrow your ability to fight it, well, that's when you get tumors. All right? Muscle tissue helps. So all these age-related diseases are offset with that. Then we come over to the hip fractures. That's the other thing that gets people. The bone density is enormous. The bone density is a big deal. And if you guys recall, when I did some DEXA scans a number of years ago, it's been 7 or 8 years now, 6 years, something like that. It's been a while. My bone density was like 4 standard deviation on the bell curve. I am well within the top, like half a percentile of the population in terms of bone density. And I was in my late 30s. I think I was 40-ish maybe when I got that done. I had the bone density of a 20-year-old athlete. Purely from lifting heavy. Okay? And that carries on into old age, where that bone density helps stop all those fractures, bone fractures, hip fractures, the stuff that really gets us with age. Right? We just break bones less easily because our bones are stronger as a result of the training. Our body has to make them stronger so that they don't get injured from lifting progressively over years and years and years. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.